All right, it's 10 o'clock. This is WZON Bangor, 98.3 Bangor.
The old
Z62 HD2 Brewer. There you go. We're back. We're going to scrap the news, Howie. We're not going to run any news here at the top of the hour. Back, Mighty John is telling us a great story. Go ahead.
Which one was I talking about?
Oh,
I don't remember anymore.
There
was a girl who was going to be a woman.
A woman.
A female newscaster, a reporterette. Info babe was going over to Channel 2, and she called the radio station, wanted to come over and be on my show, because her words were, I always like to go on the #1 radio show in the city so that I can introduce myself more quickly to my TV audience. And Don, what was his name?
Don Kerrigan.
Don Kerrigan. No, you're not going over there. That guy, Mighty John, will just embarrass you and embarrass the radio station. Well, at the time we had a tarantula in the studio.
Elvis
the tarantula.
Yeah.
And Doug the slug. Doug, he was the caretaker of Elvis.
Right.
So I said, Doug, when she comes in, we're going to do an interview. And at the end of the interview, I'm going to say, Lauren was her name.
Lauren, yes.
I want to show you something. And then we're going to drop the spider in front of her. And I thought, this guy, because she's going to scream and Don will be mad and everything. So I said, Lauren, I want to thank you for coming in. And just as I say that, Doug drops the big spider in front of her. And she says, oh, I'm not going to touch that big hairy thing. I go, no, let me explain. It's a spider. It's a spider. Don never forgave me for that.
A couple of minutes after 10 o'clock. Oh, my gosh.
What happened to Elvis the spider?
I do not know. He was here when I left. He was still here when I left. As far as I know, Doug took him with him when he left. Yeah, the old studio was. We
had to feed him mealworms.
I never touched it. I never went anywhere near the spider. I didn't care for that at all.
I thought I'd tell you about a project I've been working on at the University of Maine for the last 5 years.
What's that?
There's a very comprehensive set of documents and pictures and so on about WLBZ from the very early days in 1921 up till the time that Acton Corporation took it over. So this is it's in process. There are some sites on the university's website where the pictures and some of the text is available, and we're going to be adding to it as time goes on. But it's worth a look if you get a chance.
What's the website, Barry?
It's you would ask.
It's www something, right?
Yeah. Just Google Barry Darling.
Yeah, just put EDU on the end. You've got it.
Yeah, you go.
WLBZ was my very first radio station. Of course, your dad was here at that time, Barry. 1971.
Yeah.
And that's when I started working here. I came from Holton and worked at WHOU. Started there in 1963. I was about 13, the same age as Rick Andrews.
Really?
Yeah, when we started. And we've turned out some talent up there, that little radio station in Holton.
Oh, there's a lot of great radio talent.
Well, you
down
came
from
up
the
when I hired you. Weren't you up in the boonies somewhere?
I'm from Eddington.
Oh,
I grew up in Eddington with the brewer. My first job in radio was WSJR in Madawaska.
Madawaska,
Maine. The only place I could get a gig.
See, that's why I hired you. I felt sorry for you.
As you should. It was Madawaska, and I remember I was driving an MG at the time, which is not the vehicle to have.
No.
In Madawaska, Maine.
No.
I think I
remember that kind.
I think I parked it in Halloween, and I didn't see it again until whenever the snow went away in the springtime. No, that was my first radio gig.
Wow.
Yeah, this station's got great history. Goes back a lot of years. Yeah.
I was going to tell you, because Barry wasn't here at the time, when Stephen King bought the radio station, the first day we changed from WACZ to WZON, Stephen was going to do the show with me that afternoon. So at 2 o'clock that afternoon, we go on, and he's with me. And we're having a great old time, just talking about things and his books and movies. And I said, well, Stephen, we have to take a break, play some commercials, then we'll come back. No. Wait a minute. I don't want any commercials on my radio station. And the sales manager and all the salespeople are looking through the partition there, because they had sold it out because Stephen King was going to be on.
Sure.
And I hold up the program log and I just start scratching off all the spots. and then I think it was Barry Hobart. He was sweating and what? So I said to Stephen, gee, I get, sales manager and 5 salespeople. What am I going to do? Well, just pay what they normally get. Just tell them not to sell anything. So that lasted for about a day. And then his
accountant from New York showed up.
No.
Then it all changed.
But I tell that story because Stephen, as Bobby knows, and those of us that work for him, was the easiest guy to work for.
Yeah.
Just the nicest guy, and so we got Boy George and Culture Club did our liners.
Did liners for us.
Raquel Welch did liners.
All kinds of people.
All kinds of people.
All you had to do was say Stephen King.
Yeah. And
the thing is, he would come in and support his radio station. He was all in.
Yeah.
Always all in with us.
He wanted to play on the softball team. And we told him the only way you can play is you buy us all new gear, all new uniforms, and we're going to put you out in right field.
Put you in right field, out there by me.
So he was great. I'm sure he still is.
He's a wonderful guy.
Yeah.
But when I accepted the gig as a station manager here, I did it interim for a while when my predecessor left, and then I was doing it for a while. And then he said, "So what's the deal? Do you want me to find somebody else to do this, or will you?" Will you continue to do it? But I still had to do the morning show, and I still had to program the radio station. He wanted me to do all this stuff. Yeah. And I said, all right, I'll do it. I'll be your general manager. And he said, fine, you're the general manager and whatnot. But the one rule is I don't ever want to see you with a tie on.
Yeah.
I'm your man.
No problem.
Yeah. All right.
I'm your guy. Rich Kimball just popped into the studio.
30 years in radio, never a tie.
Never a tie.
I mean, I went to Shivers High School. I had to wear a jacket and tie every day. And when I graduated, I said, I'm going to find a job where I never have to wear a jacket and tie again. And that worked out.
Or
well.
Socks that match. I always remember that about Mighty. His socks never matched. Never matched.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do they match today?
I'm,
I don't know. It is 7 minutes after 8 o'clock. Michael, let's catch up a little bit with you. Your son.
Yeah.
Where's Corey?
Corey is an attorney in New York City.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm going to be a grandfather for the first time July 1st.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Yeah, Corey lives right in the heart of New York City, and he's an attorney for KPMG, and he is a lead litigator for the law firm. So
wow, very good.
What about you, Mighty? Where's your kids? Where are they?
Matthew, he is down in Massachusetts, works for a company called Avid. They make movie computers for movie cameras, and my son runs a restaurant down in Naples, Ben, and my daughter, Lisa, who I owe a lot of money to.
Yeah.
Because when she was 10 years old, I told her, I'll give you $25 if you record this line. I love you, Mighty John. And so she did. I have yet to pay her. And she is looking for, and she lives out in Manhattan Beach, California, and has 2 kids. My grandson is going to college next year.
Wow.
Does that make you feel old?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Hey, you say the thing there, I love you, Mighty John. I got something for you. Check this out.
Z62 Bangor's big one. That's it for Humble Bot. Nonetheless, Mighty John. J. West is next. You've been waiting. Here it is. Rockin' Rick Anders at 10. All night, Chris Connors. Tomorrow morning at 6, O'Hara. Bobby at 10. I'm back at 2.
I love you, Mighty John.
There's another 25 minutes.
There you go.
Oh,
there it
man.
is.
Yeah.
Huh? Every day when you enter the show, I hear, I love you,
I
Mighty
tried
John.
to get my son to do it. He wouldn't do it.
Well, yeah.
Goes, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But you have to pay me. You
Yeah.
see, I taught them.
You taught them well.
Yeah.
I
I'll
have
never
to pay
pay.
you. I have to pay you.
Yeah.
And in your sign-off there, you mentioned coming up next was JJ.
J.J. West. We
J.J.
should
West.
Acknowledge J.J. He was just wonderful. Great guy to work for. He was my producer also at Bounty Bandstand.
The Bounty Bandstand.
J.J. put that all together. And that video, I'm hoping there was one that was really embarrassing for me.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping this wasn't the one because J.J. would count down 5, 4, and you're back on.
Right.
One of the sponsors was, I think, Marcel's. It was a wedding
Marcel's
shop.
wedding shop.
And
Yeah.
they'd have a kid from the area high schools that were on model a tuxedo and a gown to show everybody, what they
Right.
sold. And so I'm waiting to come back, and this kid is standing next to me. He goes, "Hey, Mr. Marshall, you can look right down her dress." And I go, "What?" And I turn my head, and we're on. So I'm hoping that one that's currently up there on YouTube.
Maybe that's not the one that's on there, I think.
Good.
JJ was one of the nighttime guys here at first, and when he first went on the air, you gave him the name The Unknown Jock.
The Unknown DJ.
After the Gong Show, there was somebody on there,
Yeah,
The Unknown Comic. Yeah. And so poor JJ, was the Unknown Jock or ZJ or something for quite a while.
Gene Harden.
That was his real name.
Yep. And I said, Gene Harden, let's going to give you another name.
Yeah.
It's okay, great. I want a new name. So J.J. Jeffries, who is one of my heroes.
Right.
I'm on his station every month, too, down in Portland. I said, JJ. I said, JJ, what's your middle name? I think he said Wesley.
Yeah.
I says, JJ West. How's that sound? Yeah. And he said, yeah, I like that. And so JJ West was just a great guy to work with, and we certainly miss him.
We do. We lost JJ a couple of years back. I went to high school. JJ and I were in the same. We went to high school together in the same class. Yeah,
good guy.
And Rick Andrews wanted to give a shout out to JJ's family.
Well, as you know, a while back we did lose JJ West, and I always considered JJ like my partner in crime, sort of like the dynamic duo, because no matter what shift I was pulling, JJ was always on before me. He'd usually do 10 to midnight, and I'd do mid to 6. Or if he was filling in for Chuck doing 6 to 10, then I'd come in and do 10 to midnight. But I just remember a lot of great conversations and just talking radio and just having a great time with JJ. And it really broke my heart when I found out that he had passed away. But I'm a better person for knowing him. And he brought a lot of joy to people in his life and on the radio. So, JJ, wherever you are, I'm sure he's out there somewhere still playing the hits. All the best, my friend.
I still hear JJ's voice on Channel 7 all the time. All the time. Now, you worked with him down at MJ as well, right?
No, I didn't work with JJ.
I thought he was down there doing oldies for a while.
No.
That was post Mighty John.
Post Mighty John.
Yeah. We'll have to have the MJ reunion someday. Haul Fred Miller over the coals.
It is 13 minutes after 10 o'clock. Rich Kimball's in the studio. Hey, Rich does the afternoon show here on the Pulse.
I just wanted to stop in and say hello because this is the greatest radio I've ever heard. I could just listen to you guys tell stories. Could you do this every weekend?
Every weekend.
There's a wonderful story that Rich and I shared together one afternoon. We were in the production room in radio, and we were talking about, television gets all the stuff. They get all the new character generators. They get all this and that. And Rich then said, radio gets a box of new carts.
New carts.
That was a big deal.
That was.
We used to have to beg for them when we were at GUI.
Yeah.
New carts. We need some new carts.
Just think of how things have changed since we all started. We played 45s.
Yeah.
We played 45s that you had to queue up and start. And we thought it was a great big deal when we went to those carts. For those people listening don't know what they are. They kind of look like 8-tracks.
Right.
Maybe you don't know what an 8-track is. And you would have one song on each cart, one commercial on each cart, and then you put it into a machine and played that. I thought that was this is as good as it gets. And then when we went to CDs,
wow.
Well, this is it.
Yeah.
No more.
We never thought we'd go any far.
Never thought we'd go any further than CDs.
Yeah.
And now everything is just audio. It's just digital. There's not a turntable in the building, I think. Or there is one in the production room. When I was putting together some of these sound bites, a lot of them were on reel to reel. And I had to get Howie to bring me a reel-to-reel machine and to rewire it back in so I could dub down some of this stuff.
Well, when I started in radio, it was those 16-inch turntables.
Yeah.
And we played commercials
Yeah.
off of vinyl.
Vinyl.
BTs, yeah.
Yeah.
And we'd make our own commercials,
Right,
too.
right. So,
But that's the lost art, is being able to roll up that vinyl and talk over the cue scratch so nobody could hear that. at the end.
Well, the other thing was, where's the splicing block and the splicing tape? And yeah.
that was fun.
Well, and everything is now just on the computer.
Digital.
We do it on the computer.
I like it, though. I like it better today than I did yesterday. I like the technology better today.
Yeah.
I remember Friday afternoons running around town trying to deliver all your commercials to the other radio stations.
Oh, yeah.
And today it's just email, MP3, and that was a big deal on Friday afternoon. It was hard to get around town to get them to all the stations if you got a client on the air and they wanted to be on all stations.
Well, I remember the first time I ever came to WLBZ radio, GUI asked me to stop by and pick up a tape of a commercial. So I came in the door. They wouldn't let me up the steps.
Yeah.
You can't come up here. We'll bring the commercial to you. I'm thinking, what do you got to hide?
Yeah.
You're not doing anything right.
I'll be back. I'll be back.
And some of those same people were here when we came in.
I got a clip I want to play of Chuck. Chuck is backstage at the Bangor Auditorium with Huey Lewis. You haven't heard this. You haven't heard this, have you? Here's check this out.
Okay, this is Huey Lewis here on Z62, and
it exists.
we're here with Mark. Mark, what's your last name, Mark?
Chuck Foster.
Chuck Foster. We're with Chuck Foster. Okay, tell me, Bob, how do you like it here at this rock and roll show in Bangor, Maine?
Well, Fred, it's a real good show.
Okay, thank you very much, Steve. Listen, let me ask you another question. Dan, how long have you been working for Z62?
4 or 5 years, 6 years.
Do they pay any money down there, Bill?
Money?
Tell me something, Chuck. Have you ever heard of Huey Lewis in the News?
We've been playing Huey Lewis in the News, for a long time. It's one of the biggest acts that we play.
No kidding.
No kidding.
No. Did you realize that this was their second album, that they actually had a first album out?
I didn't know that. I was completely unaware of that.
I happen to know the guy personally, and I'll tell you what, he's not a bad guy, and he really needs the money. And I'll also tell you that they have, I have it on good authority, they have a third single coming out that radio's been requesting, Working for a Living. It was the last song.
It's one of our biggest records right now.
Well, you asked for it, Chuck. You're going to get it. The third single.
Funny guy. Where the hell did you find that?
Wow.
I have my sources.
Wow.
I have my sources.
Did you break into my cellar?
No.
I remember the first concert that Bobby and I went backstage together was Waylon Jennings. Do you remember that?
I have a picture of that.
Yeah.
Of, you,
Waylon Jennings and Lisa Coulter was his wife.
His wife, yeah.
And she had a big hit called I'm Not Lisa.
Right.
And he was,
Plastered.
He was plastered. And I was such a Buddy Holly fan, and Waylon Jennings is the guy that gave up his seat to Buddy Holly on that fated flight. Oh, God. So I said to Waylon, how was it working for Buddy Holly? Buddy Holly, the heck with Buddy Holly. What about old Waylon? I said, okay, then we'll talk no more about Buddy. And then I said to him, and this was like a month after Elvis died, that Waylon was at or a year. Well, Elvis died in 1977, so it was 78. It was a year. And we got talking about Elvis. He says, I ran into Colonel Parker a few weeks ago, and I said, Colonel, what are you going to do now that Elvis is dead? He said, Colonel looked at me and said, boy, Elvis ain't dead. It's Colonel, man, I'm making more money now than when he was alive.
Than he ever did.
Yeah.
Than he ever did.
And then his last words to me were, hey, you're standing too close to my wife.
Yeah.
Oh, and we've got the picture.
We have a picture of you and me and Waylon and his wife and Don DeLacy. Don DeLacy of the record company.
What a name! That's a great name.
Yeah.
You know who else is Sal and Jimmy?
Oh,
he's working down. He's working at a record store down in Naples, Florida.
No.
Now my son lives down there.
Wow!
I said you got to go in there and say.
Guess who I ran into at the Prudential in Boston? Jonathan Lev.
Jonathan Lev.
Remember Jonathan Lev?
From Carl Strube's office.
Carl Strube, yeah.
Well, I'm on Carl's station every week.
Carl has an old station, oldie station or something, doesn't he?
Yeah. And just very quickly, nobody knows, but Jerry Brenner, you hear of anything from him?
I think he passed away.
He passed away a couple of years back.
He did, okay.
Yeah.
Did not
and
know
I talk
that.
to Lenny Collins every now and then.
Lenny.
Lenny. Yeah, Lenny, the $1 Million Man. He won $1 million in the lottery.
The greatest story ever, Barry. He got divorced. He went to court. His wife took him for everything. And the final thing that Lenny's lawyer said is, make her sign, if you ever make any money again, she doesn't get a nickel. He went out, he had $1 in his pocket, he bought a lottery ticket that day.
And won $1 million.
$1 million.
That's a true story.
It is a true story.
Yeah.
He was one of the record reps, and I remember he was the record rep for Amy Mann and Till Tuesday, the
Epic.
Epic, the Epic guy. And I believe he was in her video for Voices Carry.
He and his brother. Wow, they were,
Great guys. And somebody that you guys all know, and I know that he's listening online because he's friends with me on Facebook, and he said, tell everybody that Rodney Stevens says hello. Rodney's listening right now.
Hey, Rodney.
A great story with Rodney is that he worked for Interscope Records, and they had the Wallflowers, Jacob Dylan and the Wallflowers and whatnot. And this was maybe mid-'80s or 90s, I think it was. Yeah. And they were going to be playing. The University of Maine had booked the Wallflowers to play up at campus. And whenever the university would put on a show, it was run by the kids, and they didn't know how to really promote it or whatnot. And so they went to another radio station. I think they went to the CHR radio station to promote it, even though we were the ones that were playing the Wallflowers. And so they found out that they were coming to Orono, coming up to Bangor and whatnot. I get a call from Rodney, and he says, "Hey, can you get Stephen to meet Jacob Dylan? He's a big fan of Stephen King, and the guys would like to meet him." I said, "Well, I don't know," but anyway, I put together a dinner with Stephen, his son Owen and his girlfriend, and me and my wife Rosemary, my daughter Kate, and my niece Sarah and whatnot, and we all went to Pilot's Grill. And so we walk into Pilot's Grill. There's Stephen and me and Jacob Dylan, the whole band, the Wallflowers, and Rodney, and every head in the place turned and look at those guys going back there. And so we had a great dinner, and then we went up to the show, and Stephen rode with Rodney. And we got to the show, and keep in mind now, still, we had been completely shut out of this concert as far as the radio station is concerned. So it ends up that Stephen sits in with the Wallflowers up there, and he's got on a radio station T-shirt and whatnot. And we ended up backstage and hanging out with the Wallflowers for the whole night. And Rodney still tells that story about going to the show with Stephen King, and all Steve wanted to do was to be able to say to the parking guy, "I'm with the band." And he did, "I'm with the band." And
oh, gosh.
Was it here that we did the bake a cake for Kiss?
Yes.
That was GY.
Was that GY?
Was it?
The Kiss cake, yeah.
Because
when we lined the mall?
That was the birthday. That was the birthday for Z62.
Yeah,
we had the cake contest.
Well, I remember the mall manager says, "Oh, this is more cakes than we thought we were going to get."
Right.
But they had to go find an additional tables, and then we went almost all the way around the mall.
That was the first Z birthday party.
The first Z birthday party.
That was it. Yeah,
that's right too.
That was huge.
Some great cakes.
Oh yeah,
ate well for a long time.
Some of the contests that you guys came up with. Do you remember on St. Patrick's Day, every once in a while, we would do the green contest, and people would show up here at the radio station with something green.
Right.
And I seem to remember somebody pulling in a pickup truck with a green cow. They had used food coloring or something and dyed a cow green and showed up here to win, who knows, a string of bowling or something.
The listeners back then really felt part of the radio station. They had ownership in it. Because we participated with them. They were on the air with us a lot.
Yeah.
We put them on to request songs, which was really important. And they were sort of invested in it, and they would show up to our promotions. And it wouldn't make any difference. We would do the dumbest things, and we would always have a great crowd.
Yeah.
And it was you, Marty, that kept on saying, keep it simple, keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, just don't make it complicated and make it easy. And that was the rule.
Well, when we did the cakes for Kiss, this little 12-year-old girl won the contest. Bake a cake for Kiss, go backstage, meet the band.
Right.
Yep. So I brought her and her mother backstage.
Yep.
And they're all in their makeup, so I don't know which one did it. But I said, hi, I'm John Marshall, and this young lady won a contest to meet you guys and bake a cake for Kiss. And he picks it up, throws it against the wall. What a piece of crap!
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. And now the little girl's crying, of course.
Yeah.
Mother's yelling at me like I threw it against the wall. I said, oh, thanks, guys. That was nice.
That's rock and roll, though. You never know. I mean,
You're going to go backstage with Gene Simmons. Something's going to happen.
Backstage was always different.
I used to go backstage for a couple times for a Motley Crue.
Yes.
And my son, Matt, says, hey, I want to go backstage next time he's Motley Crue. I said, no, I don't want you to go backstage.
No, you don't want to go backstage.
He said, there's things that I don't want you to see.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, like what? Well, like me.
I want you to see me back there.
Yeah. But I brought him backstage, and I can't remember who the guitar player was. Not
Nikki Sixx.
No, and then there was another one. Anyway, he took an hour and practiced with Matt playing guitar.
Nice.
Thought, good guys. Good guys.
Yeah, good.
Well, a lot of those guys
a lot of them are good.
Are just the best.
I can tell stories about the ones that weren't.
Yeah, there's some that are a little,
most of them were good.
Yeah,
most of them
very
were
good.
really, really good. I mean, and I think Jake Isles was probably one of the best I ever met. I think Aerosmith, another band that we met, and we were all on board. Thought those guys were always great. So, Heart. We had a lot of bands in Bangor.
I remember Hart coming through Bangor. Hart and
I tell you,
Huey Lewis.
Great David Cassidy story, which I wasn't at this radio station at the time. Had the hit, I Think I Love You.
Right.
Okay. Sunday afternoon, Bangor, Maine, February. David Cassidy. I get to introduce him for $100. I go out there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, David Cassidy. Hey! They're all like 12-year-old girls. He doesn't come out. I thought, did I say Sean?
His brother Sean.
And his manager's on the side of the stage. Come here. You got to help me get him on stage. I said, what are you talking about? He's got stage fright. His hands are into the jambs of the doors, like shaking. He says, just pick him up and throw him on stage. Oh, God. I said, do I still get my $100? Yeah. I don't do anything for free.
Yeah. Make it two.
And so he said, yeah. So we throw him on stage, literally throw him on stage. He hits the stage. I think I love you. And he's fine.
He's fine.
I'm going backstage with the manager to get my $100. Walk into the office at the Bangor Auditorium. There's these two drop-dead gorgeous girls sitting there. See-through blouses, short black velvet shorts. It's February.
Yeah.
I just can't pass by without saying hello.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So I said, what are you girls doing here? We're for David. Oh, yeah, we're all for David. I think I love you. Yeah. No, stupid. $900 a day. We're for David. Really? So I go up, I get my $100, and on the way out I go, I just got $100. How about 10 minutes in the broom closet? They called me every name in the book. But I thought, that's cool.
You could have got more than $100. So cheap.
Yeah, because I remember his mother was staying at the Twin City Motel.
Right.
And they had to knock out a wall to fit her accommodations. And apparently they skipped town, never paid the bill.
There you go.
No. That's rock and roll.
That's rock and roll, guys. That's rock and roll, guys.
Mighty, you remember the time that Charlie Daniels was in here?
He was here a couple of times. I'm not sure which one.
Yeah.
He was a great guy.
The guy walks in looking like a semi.
He's a big man. He's a big man.
Dude. And so he comes in, and he's got massive hands, and he's in the control room here with John, and he's playing away, and you see these hands, and it's incredible.
Yeah.
The guy's, you can't play a violin with hands that big.
Wow, he's unbelievable.
Oh, he was immensely so.
I tell you, the one that really freaked me out was Ted Nugent. Were you here when Ted Nugent?
I was here when Ted Nugent was in the studio with us.
Ted Nugent came in, and I was going to interview him on the air. Were you here, Mike?
Yeah, I was here.
And he came in. Hi, Ted Nugent. Very nice to see you.
Really?
Very quiet. I'm thinking, this is Ted Nugent?
Yeah.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with Ted. right. You know, like, holy crap, scared the hell out of me.
As soon as the microphone came out, he just turned into a nut.
The on-air light does it, doesn't it? Huh?
Yeah. Very soft-spoken off it, but that's the gig.
And the person that I interviewed that I really appreciated most was Bob Hope. You remember when Bob Hope came to the Bangor Auditorium? I said to him, he was going to be on for a half hour. I said, is there anything you want me to ask you? I mean, or not ask you? He said, just ask me how I am. So, ladies and gentlemen, Bob Hope. Bob, how are you? Well, I'm fine, John. Great to be here. And he went on for a half an hour and never stopped. That's it. I'm out. I never got to interview him other than to say, how are you?
That's all he needs.
Sino 78 was what he came up for. That was the event. Sino 78.
Oh, yeah. I don't
Wow.
I know some people, and I know this is a true story. I know some people. They used to have a garage down in Hampton, and for whatever reason, Bob Hope was being driven around the area that before that show and whatnot, and he had to go to the bathroom. So they end up stopping at this garage in Hampton, and Bob goes in there. As soon as he leaves, the guy who owns the gas station took the toilet seat off. And I think he had Bob sign it. And to this day, it's hanging in his camp. Bob Hope pooped here. And,
That is too funny.
That's great.
I don't know what happened to the next guy that wanted to use the bathroom at that gas station, but he had a wet bum, I think. But he saved Bob Hope's toilet seat.
You know, one thing we were talking about Don Powers earlier. He taught me one thing about management that I never knew, which you can take to the bank, Bobby. Every now and then, Don would come around to an employee and say, we just want you to know you're doing a wonderful job. We really appreciate it. And he'd hand him an envelope with a $100 bill. And he says to me, why I do that? Well, you're a nice guy, Don. I know that. He says, no. You give a guy a $100 bill, he's not going to ask for a raise. And you can save a lot of money by giving him a $100 bill.
Hey, he never gave me a $100.
No, I never got a $100 bill.
I got one, and I still asked for a raise.
I remember working at WLBZ before it was Z62 when the Thompsons owned it, and to work Christmas morning. I volunteered to work Christmas morning, and they would pay you time and a half back then. That was unheard of.
This is the most wonderful company that
ever was. Yeah, they
Classy
were just
operation,
the best.
Ownership,
the best.
Mary Thompson,
and they were just a family. They just took care of us. They
did. Yep, that's true.
Very rare.
Health insurance, everything we had back then was unheard of. They provided it for us.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a sad day when they sold it. I'll tell you that.
It was.
I think you can still find my active coins underneath the tower out there.
Mine too.
Yeah, yours too. I threw mine underneath. I think they're still there. I've never retrieved them.
Well, Barry, we were a victim of our own success.
You better believe
that's
it.
right. Yeah.
Because I remember when we told Don the first day we go on the air, we're going to have a certain amount of billing done. Don said impossible. We did.
We did it.
Oh, yeah.
We did it.
And the billing was incredible. Nothing like WLBZ Radio had ever seen. And so we were, we made it such a success. They said, no, now we can sell it. Somebody really wants to pay good money for it.
Well, the thing
why didn't we see that?
Well, the businesses believed in us because when we'd run a promotion, people would show up. I mean, back then when we did a remote, it was a big deal. And we would pack showrooms and people would show up. Listeners were very active and businesses supported us. That was a big, big, big deal for us back then.
And what you always have to remember is that at the time, 1978, 1979, there was Z62, there was ABI, that was
GUI
and GUI.
That was it.
There were no there was an FM. ABI had
nobody
an FM
listened
station,
to FM,
but nobody listened to it.
Well, there was one FM down there where KIT first was, wasn't it?
BGW, but
no, not BGW. I'm trying to think of who ran it.
Well, the only other one would have been DEA.
No.
FM.
You're talking FM?
Yeah.
92.9?
They had
yes.
Jim Goff's
Jim Goff.
Jim Goff.
Oh, the beautiful music.
Yeah,
that was the beautiful.
Yeah, that was the first FM in Bangor, I think, 92.9.
Well, no, actually, WGUY was the first FM in 1948.
FM?
And they went under.
FM?
1954.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
So
part
that-
of all
the-
his
the-
history
I did not
stuff
know
I'm
that.
doing.
I didn't.
Yeah, but the WBGW
Yeah,
was there, WABI FM.
Well, GUI FM at the time they were on the air was on 97.1.
we
it
first
I did not know.
when we
that's a
first
long
started,
time
there
ago.
was basically 2.5 radio stations.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Like I said, the old GY had to sign off the air when it got dark.
And the half radio station was number one.
Well, for years, people say there's a sleeping giant out there on Broadway.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
If
yeah.
somebody would only take it over and do it right.
It was 5,000 watts.
Yeah.
It
At
had a
620.
coverage area that was unsurpassed.
Yeah.
I mean, we were heard from the Canadian border to the rock-bound coast. I mean, it was a huge signal.
For years,
Still is.
For years, I used to sit around, and think, "My God, I'd love to get my hands on that place."
I remember I was working over at WBGW, and I was in college at the time, and somebody left, and they said, "We want you to go into the afternoon drive slot on WABI." And, of course, I've been listening to Mighty myself on the sly for years, and I thought, well, great, I've got a full-time gig in the afternoon. No one's going to hear me. I would listen during commercials to Mighty rather than listen to our own.
Rather than listen to your own station? If I remember right, well, the first year that Z62 went on the air, and when the ratings came out, I believe the station showed up.
40 share.
We had like a 40 share.
Oh, it was,
And I believe it even showed up in the Portland ratings.
oh yeah,
as
we
well.
were all over.
Because there were no 24-hour
We had
rockers
a lot of,
anyway.
We had a lot of tricks to the trade.
Yeah.
People don't know about that we did that that made us stand out from everybody else. Remember a little bit of splicing tape on the capstan on the turntables.
Oh, yeah, we sped up the music.
We
so-
made all the other stations sound. They would be playing the same music as we would be playing, but our music sounded a little bit bouncier.
We were playing
Bouncier.
45 at 46.
Yeah,
47,
or 47, according to whatever we
Not
felt.
only did it jump out at you, but it gave you condensed time to play an extra record.
We could, yeah.
Extra record or
You know,
commercial.
or
if Barry
commercial-
had his
commercials.
way.
Or well, in the WGUI days, during the sunrise sunset days, it was commercials.
Right.
We could get extra commercials in, and that was
Yeah,
a big deal.
we had
But
to.
it separated us from everybody else because we were all basically playing the same music, except for WLBZ.
Well, there was one other thing too, and that is we were the loudest thing on the dial.
Well, we compressed everything.
Yeah, well, I mean, with an Optimod that we had in the new MW5 transmitter, there was no way they could compete against us.
Poor Howie.
In fact,
We put
Howie,
him.
it's not loud enough.
Poor Howie. We put you through so much. It was. Please forgive us.
Make it
Please
loud.
forgive us.
Make it
You
loud.
make it loud.
you
It's
may
not
have
loud
thought
enough.
it was fun.
Yeah.
I didn't.
What I remember, Barry, though, you calling me.
Come on, get on the
I know
mic.
it was a Tuesday evening or something, and you said, "I just want to give you a heads up. Tomorrow you're going to meet Mighty John." And that was the beginning.
And that was
everything changed at that
And the
point.
first thing I had with Howie was in the production room. In order to record a spot at that time in the production room, you actually had to pull plugs every time you wanted.
There was a patch panel.
Yeah, panel.
I said, Howie, I just want to turn on the tape recorder and record. I don't want to have to go through all this. Oh, it can't be done. Oh, yes, it can be done. Because they had so few commercials that you recorded out here.
Right.
You didn't have to worry about that.
Phone number here, 942-6200.
How long you been here?
Wants to call. I was almost giving out the KIT phone number. I haven't been down in this studio for quite a while.
And I still have some books left. $5 autograph copy.
Yes.
Come on in.
942-6200.
Pick up a copy.
Want to give us a
autograph. Sell it on eBay for twice the money.
Call. That's right.
Come on. Never go anywhere for free.
Never
Bob.
go anywhere for free. That was the first thing I asked John when I called him about coming up. Actually, I called John to see if it would be possible for him to record some drops or something for a Z62 Throwback weekend, and he said, "Well, that sounds like it might be fun. I could come up." And my first question was, "How much is this going to cost me to have you come up here?" And so John's a great guy, and after that, then Michael got on board. Foster on board, Barry Darling, everybody's just great. Great. He's one of our original salespeople from Z62, Bill Roderick, popping in the studio. He's still with us.
Really?
Yeah.
You have a lot of sympathy.
Well,
The phone's ringing, Bobby.
The phone is
Might be
ringing.
somebody who wants to win a contest.
That could be. Let's see if I can make this thing work. Hi.
Hey, it's Rick Andrews.
Hey, Rick Andrews.
Hey, Ricky boy.
Hey, Rick. Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling from San Angelo, Texas.
Well, I played some of your stuff. I don't know if you've been listening online or not, but great to hear from you, Rick.
Yeah, I have been listening online. Actually, loving it, bringing back a lot of memories. And there was a couple things that I wanted to toss out to Mighty John to see if he could tell a couple stories. One was Stephen King, when y'all gave him the Born in the USA gold or platinum plaque, what Stephen did with that.
I don't know. I know we gave him a couple of gold records.
Yes.
And he took them out of the frames and tried to play them.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And, of course, those records, when you get a gold record or a platinum record, they're never actually the record itself. They
right.
They just generic
they
record.
Just paint something.
Painted gold or whatever.
Latoya Jackson.
So that's what you're probably referring to.
There was that, and then there was also, I think I was on the air, but it was a Christmas party that Stephen had for the staff over at his house, and I just remember you telling us about the Colonel.
The Colonel? You mean the ghost?
Yes.
Oh, the General.
Oh, the General.
Did you ever meet the ghost in Stephen's house?
No, I did not.
Ooh, boy. I went over to talk to him about buying the radio station, this radio station, WZON.
Right.
And he wanted to go to the store for something. He said, you want to come with me? You want to stay here? And I said, well, is there anybody home? He says, no. He says, wife took the kids to the movies. Just stay here and watch TV. So I'm in his TV room, and all of a sudden I hear footsteps above on the ceiling. I didn't think anything of it. I thought must be one of the kids was sick, stayed home. So I went to the bottom of the stairs, and I said, is anybody up there? And there was no reply. So I go back down. I'm sitting in the TV room, and all of a sudden, the steps start up again. And I said, well, now I'm going back. I'm halfway up the stairs when it actually hits me. Hey, stupid, you're alone. It's Stephen King's house. If this was a movie, people would be yelling at you.
Yeah.
Don't go up there.
Leave.
Yeah. So I say, is there anybody up there? And all of a sudden, the door slams. Bam. And I thought, go back downstairs. Footsteps start up again. And I thought it was him playing a joke. And I see him drive up, and I hear the footsteps at the same time. So I said, he comes in. I said, I thought you said there was nobody home. No, nobody's home. I said, somebody's walking around upstairs. Oh, that's just General Weber. General Weber? Who's he? Oh, an old Civil War general hung himself in the house about 100 years ago. Oh, can we go outside and finish this talk?
Yeah, let's go outside.
So I don't know if that's true, but that's what happened.
You heard it.
I heard it.
You heard it.
I don't think he'd deny that. You ought to ask him.
No. Rick, when you left Z62, where did you land first?
After Z?
Yeah.
It was I went to do nights at WIGY down in Bath, Maine.
Wiggy,
Carl Strobe Station.
Yeah.
Y106.
And from there, when did you land in California?
Actually, in San Luis Obispo, I remember it was in 1989, and I was there till about 2000 before I moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh man. You're bouncing up and down that dial, huh?
I've been on in Albuquerque. KKOB.
KKOB, you still do a thing there?
The guy that I was on with is no longer there, so I haven't been on in a while.
I see.
One of the first things we used to do when we used to hire a new guy to come in, we go out and look at his car, and if he had a trailer hitch on the car, we didn't know if we wanted to hire him or not. Rick, you're one of those guys. Did you have a trailer hitch on your car?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think Rick had a car.
Yeah, Rick didn't even have a car. Didn't have a driver's license, let alone a car.
Yeah.
How old were you, Rick, when you came here?
I was probably, I think I was getting ready to turn 15.
Yeah, we wanted Rick because child labor laws, we didn't have to pay him much.
Very loose.
Yeah.
Very loose back then.
I do remember, though, when I did get a car, for some reason, and you got to go back to the time and my age and stuff, I was in, and I'm going to embarrass myself, I was a fan of the Smurfs. I have no idea why, and you guys probably don't even remember this. I don't know if it was O'Hara or Mighty John, but I had, and this is tripped out, I had, like, stuffed Smurf or something in my car, and one of you guys are going, you're a ZJ dude.
That wasn't me.
Get rid of the doll.
Must have been O'Hara.
That could have been me.
Yeah, that was probably O'Hara.
O'Hara looked like a Smurf back then. He related to them.
Oh, yeah.
Next day, those stuffed animals were gone.
Good.
Well, I just wanted to call in. I've been listening. I'm continue to listen, but man, it is great to hear you all back together again. And I just have nothing but great memories. And you're right, it really was the best of times back in the day. Everything was brand new for me. So I've got an awful lot of fond memories with all of you.
It was Bangor that really brought it out of us. If it wasn't for Bangor, I don't think this would have ever happened in any other city except for in Bangor. I mean, we were so fortunate to be in this city at that time.
Right place, right time.
Right place, right time. Hey, Rick, thanks for checking in with us.
All right, guys. Enjoy your day.
Take care. We will. We haven't even played any tunes yet. We've just been yakety-yakking here.
Michael?
Yeah.
One morning, we used to have that 10-minute newscast at 8 o'clock that Don Powers insisted that we carry. And Mighty didn't want anything to do with it. But Don prevailed anyway. So one morning, I think you had a cold or something or other. And
no, probably a hangover or something.
Well, I'm trying to be polite.
Okay, right.
So let's put it this way. Michael had a hard night the night before. And so we come in the control room. There's no one here. Can't find him anywhere. Go up here, go in the bathroom, whatever. And the next thing, I went out behind the transmitter. Here's Michael sound asleep in the transmitter.
Well, I got 10 minutes. I know. That's all I need. Give me 10 minutes. I'm good to go.
The biggest fight we had with Don Powers was at 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night. Every night there was a religious program that ran on WLBZ.
Right.
We said, Don, I mean, we're rock and roll 24 hours. We can't stop to run you got to run that program. They love it up there. They're not going to hear it, Don, not after we do what we're going to do.
No.
And so that was the toughest thing we ever had him do, was cancel that program. I mean, run it Sunday morning, Don. That's where we run those, not 7 o'clock at night.
We were just breaking new grounds. We were just, at any time we turned around, we tried something new, and I was really influenced by the Drake Chenault format coming out of Boston, and during that period, WRKO, listening to those radio stations, all that stuff. That was just exciting times for us.
And we were the last AM rock and roll radio station to be a reporter to Radio and Records, which was the big industry magazine.
That's right.
The last AM reporter, because everybody else was FM.
Had gone to FM,
yeah.
And we knew eventually, FM was going to take over. How long can you get away with, AM?
Yeah, it was. I mean, even the FM stations that were beating us weren't as well programmed or even as exciting as we were. It was the music, and we all knew that's why we like to think they listened to the radio station because of us, but it was the music. That's why they listened to the radio, really.
That was a combination of everything.
Yeah, it was a combination. Yeah. The radio station itself had a personality.
Yeah.
Imagine what it would have been like if there had been Z106.5.
I know.
Oh yeah. Well,
yeah. We were so close.
Very, very close.
We were so close. Yeah.
People don't know.
Yeah. But then we decided to go AM stereo.
Now, Bobby.
Yes.
What's after Stephen sold the station? Back in 87, 88, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Where did you go, or did you stay here?
No, I went to Wilmington, Delaware.
Okay.
And worked down there. Steve was going to sell the radio station at one point, and they said, I'll give you X amount of time to, find a gig.
Right.
Go away. And so,
just go away.
So you had already gone to Portland.
Right.
And
I had already left.
Michael had already left, and Tony Perkins was here. He had left. Chuck had already left, and so it was me and Tim Cotton.
Tim Cotton.
We're doing the morning show.
Let's rake Cotton over the coals.
Yeah. And Mitch Mitchell was here and whatnot, and so I sent out my demo tapes, and they flew me down to Delaware and said, "Hey, we want you to come." And I really didn't want to go. I didn't want to go to Delaware. I was up for another job in Knoxville, Tennessee, which was a rock station.
Right.
And the station in Delaware was like a AC, adult contemporary station. And coming from Z62, the rock, I didn't want to go and play Whitney Houston or Tiffany or whatever was the big music there at the time. So I turned him down. I said, "Nah, I'm waiting for this gig here in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm going to go down there and live." And then they called back, and I'm getting closer and closer to the cutoff date that the Z had given us, that they were right now they were going to shut the station down if he didn't sell it. And so I had to find a gig, and Delaware called me back, and they offered me a bunch more money. I said, well, I guess I'm going to Delaware.
Well, I went on. I did a interview on that station. Went down there in person, did an interview, and I said, "You remember Bobby Russell?" "Oh, Bobby, he was the greatest thing that ever happened to morning radio in Delaware."
Oh boy!
And I said, "No, Bobby Russell." No, but they really thought the world of you.
And when you came back, I remember when you came back, you were totally different on the air, so polished, so good. You were you came back with a whole different toolbox.
Well,
what
you had to remember about Wilmington, Delaware, was its proximity to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
If Bangor is Wilmington, Delaware, Ellsworth is Philadelphia. That's how close we were. And at the time, Philadelphia was like market number 4 in the country. And I remember there were 2 stations in Philadelphia. There was WMMR that I think was 93.3, and there was WYSP, which was Howard Stern was doing mornings there, and there was a guy on MMR called John DeBella,
which was huge.
With the MMR, DeBella in the morning.
Yeah, I've been on his show.
Yeah, John DeBella. Wow. He's still down there. So it was 93.3. We were 93.7 and then 94.1. And so I called myself, of course, the rose between two thorns. How are you going to go against Howard Stern and John DeBella? And the only way to do it was to be super local. So we were a Wilmington, Delaware station. And I had a blast. As a matter of fact, I was just down there last week. In Philadelphia, because the guy who hired me, the PD guy named Steve Bursler, passed away, and I went down last Sunday for a memorial service for him. But it was a great time. I loved everybody that I worked with at that station. I just hated the music.
But you came back with a whole new set of tools, though, didn't you? You learned a lot, didn't you?
You know, when I went down there, I thought this was going to be so cool. I'm going to do traffic reports, and I'm going to do this and that. And we did. We did traffic reports, and I ended up hating traffic reports. Because you would just get go. I had the freedom here at Z62 to do stuff. Remember, I would do Stump Your Pal and do a lot of trivia and whatnot on the radio. When you got to the bigger market, it was hey, I gotta hit that traffic dude at 7 minutes after, and then at 27 after. It was very, very structured, but you had to get your chops together to do it.
And I remember listening to you when you came back, and you worked over. When we were over in Brewer. And I said, this guy had learned a lot. He had really picked up a lot. He sounded great, too.
Michael?
Always did, Bobby. You always did.
Michael?